This is Export Like a Boss, the podcast for those on the front lines of international business and trade. Succeed in business on a global scale. The planet is your market. Here is your host, Alberto Rodriguez Baez.
Hello and welcome back to Export Like a Boss, the podcast for those on the front lines of international business and trade. I'm your host, Alberto Rodriguez Baez. We are overwhelmed and humbled with the support we have received since launching this podcast. Thank you very much. This show is all about showcasing small and medium-sized companies that are exporting like a boss, telling their stories, their successes and challenges, their recommendations and encouragement to other exporters, as well as highlighting the organizations and resources that have helped them in their international business development efforts. Before introducing today's guest, let me remind you to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss any episodes. And feel free to tell your colleagues about this podcast. You can contact us on Twitter. Our handle is @ExportLikeABoss. You can use the hashtag ExportLikeABoss or The Planet is Your Market. Also, you can contact us via email at podcast@exportlikeaboss.com. We want to hear from you. What you like, what you don't like, let us know. And if you know a company that is crushing it in the exports area, send us an email and nominate it to be in this show. By the way, the links and other items mentioned in today's interview will be available on our website, exportlikeaboss.com. Stop by and check it out. On to the show. On today's episode, I'm going to talk with Michele Beckley, Vice President of Operations for Merlot Skin Care. I've had the pleasure of knowing Michele and Wayne, her husband, for about 3 years. Wayne Beckley is Merlot Skin Care's president. I was introduced to them by my colleagues from the El Paso SBDC, Small Business Development Center. By the way, Wayne is not in this interview because he was in Tokyo meeting with clients, and you will hear more about it in the interview. When I first heard the story of Merlot Skin Care, I was very impressed. They are a family-owned company manufacturing their products in beautiful El Paso, Texas, and exporting all over Asia. Merlot is a great example of how a small company with great products, creativity, hard work, and a positive and adventurous attitude can go very, very far. This company is truly exporting like a boss. We caught up with Michele as she was traveling in the East Coast. Good morning, Michele.
Good morning.
Michele, we're very happy to have you today with us. And first of all, let me ask you, when did you start Merlot Skin Care?
We began our company in 2001.
And what kind of products does Merlot Skin Care sell?
It's a line of skincare. We have moisturizers, face mask, toner, and all things for face and body.
Where did the inspiration for the product come from?
Well, my husband's always invented different products and toyed with different ideas. And this one, he tells the story of watching, I was 20 or 60 Minutes, one of those shows, and they were talking about how people in France have less heart disease even though they ate very much more fatty foods than we do in the U.S. And they attribute it to the fact that they drank so much wine, and particularly red wine and the high antioxidants in it. So he started thinking about, well, if that's good for you internally, what about externally? So he started experimenting by adding different ingredients into skincare lotions.
So the winning ingredient was the grapeseed extract?
Yes, the grape seed extract, yes.
You mentioned that you started in 2001. When did you start selling your products abroad? When was the first time that you started exporting?
We actually started exporting just in 2012. It hasn't been that long.
What country did you first export to?
Japan. We think that there were people that were probably buying products from us, wholesale distributors that maybe had some small retail operations in the U.S., and then they were also exporting kind of unbeknownst to us, and some things were being sold online. But officially, we started exporting in 2012 to Japan. They had some of the Merlot products, but the big product there is our first Crush 3-in-1, and that's the acne treatment.
Right.
And in Japan, that rivals Proactive. I mean, we're as popular as they are there.
Michele, can you please tell us about your expansion into China?
We have a distributor there that he has just been amazing to work with. And, he's willing to provide the resources needed to get to be legally licensed and to have all the appropriate paperwork done.
Talking about China, I read that you will be exhibiting in the Shanghai Beauty Expo. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, so last year, my husband and I, we visited the trade show in anticipation of this year participating. And so this year we will have a booth at the China Beauty Expo in May in Shanghai. And so we wanted to see, how people set up and kind of what the expectations were. And so we have been preparing. Our son does photography for our company and video, and so he's got videos for the product set up, and he's sent the art that will be, on the walls in the background. And then our daughter also works for the company, and she's been helping because we're doing different sizes for China. Because in the U.S., we seriously do tend to like things big and bigger sizes, and in China, they've asked for smaller sizes that, are more usable, easier to carry, that you go through quicker. And so we are altering the sizes of our products for there.
That's a very good insight, especially about modification of products when you go abroad. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, and that your company is catering to different tastes, in this case of size. We mentioned earlier that Wayne, your husband and Merlot Skin Care's president, is not in the United States right now. Where is he at this moment?
Yes, he is currently in Tokyo meeting with Avon Japan.
And talking about that partnership, how did that come to be? You mentioned that was your first foreign client, and did they find you? Did you target them? How did that first contact happen?
That's I guess it's one of the funny stories, in that my husband is very good at finding media, getting attention to our company. That's one of the things that he really enjoys doing. And so he had met with a producer of CNBC, and they did a story on us. And that has aired numerous times. In fact, someone told me that they saw it on TV just the other day. And this has been, I think it aired in 2011, 2012. And so they did this story on us. And the man who was the CEO of Avon Japan at that time, they're on different CEOs now, but the man that was on, the CEO at that time, was on an airplane, and they aired that episode. And then he landed, picked up the phone, and called my husband and said, I'd love to meet with you. I'm interested in carrying your products.
And the rest is history, as they say. How did the first meeting between Merlot Skin Care and Avon Japan go?
Oh, very big, very good. They just outlined what products they thought would do well there, and again at that point discussing packaging changes, things that would make it better for their market, make it more appropriate, because we had to change, I think, reduce a percentage of an ingredient for Japan, and then just alter the look a little bit, but not a lot. Alter the look a little bit in the packaging, especially in Japan. Their presence, the look of the product is very important. Much more so than, in the U.S. We'd like things that are attention getting, but in Japan they like things to be very pleasing to the eye, and so they wanted the look just a little more refined.
Can you share a situation that made you think, we are not in Kansas anymore? A situation that made you realize that doing business with foreign companies is different?
So we were at Avon Japan. It was our whole team. All four of us were there. And we were told that we were going to be meeting with some bloggers and magazine reviewers. And then also there would be an additional interview with the pink ribbon mascot. Now, in the U.S., when we think of mascots, we usually think of like sports team mascots, and people are kind of abusive to them. But in Japan, mascots are revered. And so the pink ribbon, it was Pink Ribbon Month, and a portion of the proceeds from our sales to Avon Japan that month were going to the Pink Ribbon Fund. So Momo-chan, which is the mascot, came to the office and spent 45 minutes having our products explained to her, and she pretended to use them. She was adorable. And then walked around the office and greeted people, and it was like a celebrity sighting. People were so excited, and we were just so amused. This is so amazing. But the use of mascots there are very effective because people enjoy them so much.
Michele, what recommendations can you give to companies thinking about exporting to Asia?
So to me, it's like whatever culture, you just go in and respect their customs and know that that they have different priorities, and honor that and value that. One of the things that we also talk about is business cards. Like in the U.S., yes, we exchange business cards, but you can even kind of like toss them to people, or you put them in your pocket. But in Japan, business cards, you hand them with both hands. You look at the card, you say something about it, and then you put it in a card holder and take good care of it. And so again, it's just a little more respectful about something than the way we take things more for granted in the U.S.
How about exporting to China?
There, it's more about relationship building. Businesses in the U.S. were very much about bottom line, how much you're going to make, how much is it going to cost. In China, it's building that relationship first. We've been there to visit with the company that is doing our distribution. They have been here to visit with us and brought family members, and we've entertained them. And when you do business there, when we've met with companies that are going to buy through our distributor there, you go to dinner. You not only share a meal, but you share drinks, and they toast. Like if you have, say, a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, you just toast throughout the whole meal. It's not just like one toast, it's so nice to meet you, or here's to the success of our business. You toast all throughout the meal.
What would be a piece of advice that you will give to someone that is starting to think about exporting to Asia, where your company is having great success? We talk about business cards, you talk about relationship building. Is there any other piece of advice that you could give to someone that is thinking about starting doing business in Asia, for example?
In Asia, they use social media a lot, and just like we do in the U.S., but much more in a more informative way. In the U.S., ours tends to be more like, oh, it's amusing, or that person's going to be a celebrity. We've found that in Asia, that like some of the how-tos that highlight your product, having multi-ethnic models, because that's the world now. We're all very global.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Europe is a great market for many American companies, And now you can make the most of your export efforts by using Eurodev sales services. Eurodev is a business development company that focuses in helping small and medium-sized American companies penetrate and grow in Europe. For more information, visit eurodev.com, that's eurodev.com, or contact Mark Wigger at mark.wigger@eurodev.com. mark.wigger@eurodev.com. Eurodev is your route to success in Europe. Michele, are there any interesting skincare trends you have found in Asia?
In Asia, men are much more into skincare. In the U.S., we're just kind of starting to do that and do lines for men, but you don't even have to have that distinguishing feature for products in Asia. The men will also use the same products.
I am so glad that you mentioned that, because I just read an article and I was going to bring it up about the cosmetics market for men in Asia. So I wanted to ask, how are you and your team reacting to this trend in Asia?
Well, that's one of the reasons why our distributor for the show insisted that my husband and my son be there, just because that's one of the things that they feel like the buyers will respond to is having them there. In the U.S., we tend to market anything beauty related to women, and all the billboards are women and all the photographs are women. In Asia, I would say that I noticed so many photographs and billboards of men in the products, for products. And they will be there and talk to people about our products. And I just think that in your advertising, in your social media, to go ahead and incorporate.
How have other distributors and potential clients discovered your products?
So many of our distributors have found us because of our website, and that's why your website is so important. And he had been ordering small amounts as a wholesaler and distributing it. And my husband noticed that, and he would look at, if a wholesaler had been increasing their orders, and once in a while we'd contact them about what markets are you selling, do you need, and we tell them, and when we have brochures available, if we have sample packets available, if we have art available, we make that available to any of our wholesalers or distributors, to help them out, to provide support. Well, so he had noticed his account, and so he gave him a call, and he said, I've noticed you've been ordering on a regular basis. What can we do to help you out? How do you want to grow this business? And he was so excited. He said, well, definitely I would like to go big time into China, and I would like to do a trade show, and, these are the ideas. And so at that point, then he came to El Paso and met with Wayne and Drew, and they outlined some things. And then following that, Wayne and I went to China, and since then they've come and met with us again. And so we just, grew the business and grew the relationship.
I'm so excited to hear that Wayne recognized from the purchase patterns that there could be a great market situation going on with that client in China, but he turned it into a positive, that he reached out to him and offered to talk about possibly being an official distributor. So congratulations on that. That was a great move on Wayne's part. And again, one of the things that I am very excited about your company is how nimble your company is to not only recognize trends and opportunities, not only in the States, but also abroad. Michele, what are some of the challenges you have found as an exporter, and what are some of the ways you have overcome those challenges?
Oh, yes, because there's just so much detail when it comes to licensing and, getting the rights to distribute in a different country. luckily, I've had some help from the Department of Commerce. I've actually attended some events and gone through the emails with Business Forward, and of course, your organization, the International Trade Center in San Antonio, and then also I had some help from the World Trade Center in Denver when it comes to the free sale certificates, and because you have to do the paperwork, and it's important. It's paying attention to detail, and it's funny little things that trip you up, like using, especially with us, since we're called Merlot and we're Merlot Corporation, but it's Merlot Skin Care. Well, which way is it appearing on the form, and are you consistent in your use? It's just little things like that then they come back and you have to, make the edits, make the corrections, where if you pay attention to it up front, it saves you a lot of time.
As a small business owner, how do you balance doing business domestically and abroad at the same time?
Well, my daughter and I were talking about that this morning. And it's funny, it's since we're family owned, we tend to just refer to them as our son and daughter, but we should give them some official titles. I think she is our director of media and PR, but it's just when it's the four of you, you all wear all the different hats, and you each just do whatever needs to be done when it needs to be done. And we laugh that we really don't have balance. That it isn't clear cut, defined. Well, you take care of this and you take care of this. It's I'm working on this today, and I need this help, and then they get it to you. It's like in the middle of all of this, we're updating the website, and Nicole is overseeing that, and so I might get an email from her that says I need this information, and then Drew might get one from her that says I need photographs of products with the lids off or outside, or a picture of a model that's a wide shot so I can put text to the left. I mean, we handle every bit of it. When you're a small company, you just wear all the different hats. And then the next conversation will be, okay, now, the smaller packaging is, what's the shipment date to make sure it's at the show in China. So it's being able to multitask, but yet be focused and just handle it all.
I commend you for going the extra mile, taking these opportunities and moving them forward, and now being so successful. What has it meant to your company to sell its products abroad?
Well, of course, there's the financial benefits. Within the U.S., we're in all the Walgreens and through drugstore.com. And we wanted a way to be in other countries and other places. I think that we really are in a global economy now, and we want to be part of that, and not just be have this narrow vision. And we all love to travel. We all love different cultures, different cuisines, and people from all over the world. And so it's one of those things that just expands you personally, and then also, is beneficial to the business. It was when I came on to the business, because my husband operated it for a while where I was still teaching school. And then my daughter came in and my son came in, and my goal was, that we take it international. And I think we've been very fortunate to be able to do that.
When you started the company, did you ever think that your products were going to be sold in Asia and other foreign markets?
No. I think initially we were grateful that somebody liked his idea and that they were quality products that people liked. And so, it's one of those things that initially we didn't have this big picture, but we definitely evolved that way and hope to continue to do so.
Definitely.
We want to get this going and really, have this running well, and then continue to expand.
Besides Japan and China, where else do you have distributors?
Well, we have a number of distributors now in Vietnam, so that's an area that we're working on. And we have Wayne's meeting with, in fact, he has some meetings other than Avon Japan in Japan. And then also when he gets back here, he has some meetings with some companies that are interested in taking us into Australia, into Thailand. I don't even know where the other countries are, but he's going to meet with them, and we're talking about potential opportunities, with them.
Michele, where can people find your products in the United States?
Walgreens, and both in the stores and on their online, which is walgreens.com, and then also drugstore.com.
And how about your website?
And then our website, merlotskincare.com. So there's actually merlotskincare.com and then firstcrushskincare.com, because First Crush is our 3-in-1 acne treatment. That's the one that is the most popular product in Japan right now. And that one we also have it on our Merlot website. We have those linked together right now.
Excellent. And we will also include all these links in our website as well. So just a couple of more questions. What kind of marketing collateral do you offer to your distributors?
Well, yeah, it's up to them which way they want to do it, and we'll work with them on that, because in Japan, they did want it specific to their market. In China, we're doing some of each. We're doing some that will have specific things with it's Mandarin, things in Chinese, but we're bringing things in initially, in English, because that's one of the things they want it U.S. made, because they know it'll be, very good quality. And so we do offer them, we'll offer them the art that will have our logo, that'll have, if they want, photographs that we have that we keep stock of. And then we have things like brochures. We're doing some sampling when we can, but we try to make sure that they have support, so that they can do advertising, social media, whatever they feel will be effective. And we're just starting to do more video also.
Oh, and I'm sure that your distributors appreciate that tremendously. What is your most popular product in the United States? And is it the same abroad? Is that the same product, the most popular abroad?
Oh, that's so funny that you asked that. Yeah, what we call our hero product is our moisturizer, and then our night cream. But in Asia, right behind the moisturizer is the toner. And the toner is so popular there. And it's funny because it's one of the things we don't currently have it in Walgreens. In Walgreens, they have the moisturizer, night cream, eye cream, and peel-off mask. But in Asia, it's our moisturizer and our toner.
Do you know why?
I think it's just, different skincare regimes, what people do, what their routine is. So there it would be like cleanse, tone, moisturize. And our cleanser is also popular both in the U.S. and in Japan and China. But they'll use the cleanser and then use the toner and then moisturize. And I think that, I know that in South Korea sometimes they'll talk about that they might even do 12 steps. They're just using different products that target different things. In the U.S., we tend to use, like 3-in-1 products, 7-in-1 products. We like products to do multiple things. And I think in the Asian countries, they're more willing to use different specific products to target different needs.
What advice would you give to any company that wants to start exporting or is just beginning to export?
I think, be willing to work with someone in that country, maybe find a distributor there, be willing to pay attention to detail and do the paperwork required, and then, seek out, someone that can help you. The International Trade Center has been great. Department of Commerce has been great. Even at the World Trade Center in Denver, because I've had to do certificates of origin, certificates of free sale, and they're so patient and helpful, in explaining how you fill things out, and it's worth it to pay attention to the detail and get those things done. It makes it much smoother.
Michele, thank you very much for being with us today. Do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I encourage people, if they're interested in exporting, even if you're considering it, you might look at some websites, check out different things online, or take the opportunity to visit a place you might want to export to, make some connections, go to some trade shows. I think it's so worthwhile. I think people should at least try.
We want to thank Michele Beckley for this interview, and we hope you enjoyed it. And let us know what you thought about this episode. You can tweet us using our handle @ExportLikeABoss and use the hashtag #ExportLikeABoss or The Planet Is Your Market. Or contact us via email at podcast@exportlikeaboss.com. That's it for today. See you in a couple of weeks, and remember, the planet is your market. Export like a boss.
You've been listening to Export Like a Boss, the podcast for those on the front lines of international business and trade. For past episodes and more information, visit us at exportlikeaboss.com or subscribe on iTunes.